Hello, my name is Stephanie Mina. Today I will be discussing the effect of dietary preference on athletic recovery time. Vegetarian and vegan lifestyles are becoming more popular in the United States. A 2006 nationwide poll estimates that 2.3% of the adult population consumes a vegetarian diet and 1.4% consumes a vegan diet. These are associated with significant health benefits, including lower blood cholesterol levels and blood pressure, decreased risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and cancer, among other benefits. In recent years, a number of professional athletes have transitioned to vegetarian or vegan diets in the hopes that it will improve their overall physical performance. Research in this area is limited. However, no evidence has been shown that dietary preferences has any impact on an athlete's physical performance level. Dietary preference may not impact athletes' performance abilities. However, it may influence their overall health and ability to recover after intense workouts. The purpose of this study is to further understand the influence that dietary preferences have on athletes' abilities to recover after intense workouts. Recovery will be defined as reduction of muscle soreness following exercise-induced muscle damage. A 2016 systematic review of studies comparing vegetarian diets to typical omnivorous diets and assessing total physical performance of athletes concluded there was no measurable effect of a vegetarian diet on physical performance in athletes in comparison to an omnivorous diet. Many of the studies utilized looked at the total physical performance of an athlete, leading to a need for additional research into the effect of dietary preference on different aspects of performance, such as strength and endurance. A study conducted in 2016 looked at the differences in cardiorespiratory fitness and peak torque in male and female vegetarian athletes compared to omnivorous athletes. There was no difference found in peak torque for either gender. However, there was a significant difference found for aerobic fitness in female vegetarian athletes in comparison to female omnivorous athletes. Another systematic review of the literature found that a well-planned vegetarian diet would be able to support an athlete in health and training needs, but was not able to provide any additional benefits to the dietary choice. Dietary preferences impact many aspects of an individual's life, including the overall quality of life. A 2018 study looked at dietary preferences and the impact it had on performance and quality of life for endurance runners. Looking at physical health, psychological well-being, and social relationships, the study concluded that the perceived quality of life for vegetarian runners was consistent with the quality of life for meat-eating runners. The study did note that the scores for vegetarian athletes were consistently higher than those of omnivorous athletes, but the results were not significant. This helps to support the idea that a vegetarian diet is an appropriate and equivalent alternative to an omnivorous diet for a high-level athlete. Looking at recovery times for athletes is sparse, and looking at the recovery time for athletes and the effect dietary preference has on this is even less so. In 2014, a study was conducted looking at recovery time for burn patients consuming a vegetarian versus a non-vegetarian diet. The study was able to conclude that there was no difference in recovery length or healing quality in burn patients consuming a meat-based diet compared to those consuming a plant-based diet. This helps to provide evidence that a meat-based diet is not essential for recovery. Another study looked at the use of isolated soy protein supplementation to assist in recovery with athletes. Soy protein is often a viable alternative to animal-based proteins to assist in recovery from intense exercise and competitive events. The study found that isolated soy protein is essential in assisting with muscle recovery following exercise-induced muscle damage. Research into the effect of dietary preference on athletic ability and performance and recovery is sparse. There's no significant impact on athletic performance, providing that the diet is well balanced and nutritious, but there is a gap in the literature when looking at dietary preference and its effect on specific aspects of an athlete's performance, especially when looking at recovery. Recovery is an essential aspect of performance as it impacts an athlete's ability to train and compete at more frequent intervals. Analyzing the effect of diet on recovery will help to uncover important tools that athletes can utilize to help improve their training and competing abilities. The hypothesis for this study is that dietary preference will have an impact on the length of recovery time for college soccer players. The null hypothesis is that dietary preference will have no impact on the length of recovery time for college soccer players. The study is designed as a quantitative static group design with two groups, vegetarian versus omnivorous. The vegetarian diet will consist of individuals consuming no red meat, poultry, or fish, and the omnivorous group will consist of individuals that do consume red meat, poultry, or fish. Recovery time will be evaluated using a visual analog scale where 0 indicates no pain and 10 indicates severe pain. The participant pool will consist of male and female college soccer players between the ages of 18 and 22. All testing will be conducted between November and January during off-season, and all testing will be performed in the morning. Any athletes with injuries or illnesses will be excluded from the study. An estimated sample size of 210 participants is necessary, with 105 participants for each group. Prior to participation, participants will perform and hold a squat for 30 seconds and rate their level of pain on a VAS in order to obtain a baseline. Participants will then perform a total of 100 drop jumps from a height of 2 feet. This will be broken up into 5 sets of 20 drop jumps with a 2-minute rest between each set. 24 hours post-exercise, participants will perform and hold a squat for 30 seconds and rate their level of pain using a visual analog scale. The data will then be analyzed using an independent t-test for comparison of means between the two groups. Significance will be set at 0.05 prior to the analysis of the data. Any research involving humans requires approval from the Institutional Review Board of each university the study is conducted with. Each participant will also be briefed about the purpose of the study and the study protocol and will be provided with written informed consent. Any participants deemed to have existing injuries or illnesses will be excluded from the study. How an athlete recovers is an integral part of his or her ability to perform and compete at the highest level. With an increased number of professional athletes transitioning to plant-based diets, it's important to understand the effect that this may have on their ability to recover from intense workouts and on their overall health. Previous research into dietary preferences on athletic performance and recovery is very limited. This research will help to provide a basis for future research into the effect of dietary preference on athletic recovery time. Such research could include expanding the depth of the study to look at recovery over time, looking at the overall health status of vegetarian athletes compared to meat-eating athletes, and expanding the research to look at long-term effects of dietary preferences on athletes. Some limitations for the study is that it will be difficult to generalize the study to other populations. Time is a limitation. Additional research can be conducted to look at recovery over time, so 24 hours post-exercise in comparison to 48 hours post-exercise, as well as looking at how the type of vegetarian diet can affect the actual recovery time of an athlete.